it going, YouTube? Welcome to the shop. Thomas here. It's been about 15 months now, I think, since I purchased the Ersa I-Con Nano, and I just wanted to give you guys my experience and some, just talk about it for a minute and my likes and dislikes of it. For the most part, I really like it. The things that I don't like about it are, for the most part trivial, except for the tips. One thing I would like to see changed is the wire. I would like to see it a little bit longer. It's not bad, but if you need the power supply away from you, it's going to make it really hard. The other thing is, I mentioned this, I think in the last video, the tip holder here. It only comes with 4. They need to add the other 2, and it's funny too because I talked to Dan down at Ersa, Kurt's USA, and he told me that the engineers told him you could only fit 4. You can obviously see I have 6 on there quite easily. I just put a brass rod inside there. It works okay, but it'd be nice if they would add those other 2. It's just I think that's kind of ridiculous. Couple more things about the tips. This is kind of the part that's a little irritating to me. Over last summer, I was talking to them back and forth about adding more tips to Amazon because that's basically the only place you can get them right now, and it literally took 3 months to get their only bent chisel. At the same time, I was trying to get them to add the 0.4 millimeter bent conical, and it's been almost a year and it's still not up, which is very disappointing. And the other thing about tips is they need to add more tips. I mean, they've got about 45-50 tips. They need to add those tips to Amazon, and they say you can get them direct. Yeah, you can get them direct if you want 10 of one tip. If you're just like me, just a hobbyist or single person shop, lab, whatever, that's just not gonna work. I mean, it's just not going to. The other thing about the tips is when you get out of the basic shapes, they skyrocket in price as far as I'm concerned. I think it's the bent chisel. It's like $38. You can get 2 Metcal tips for that price, and as you can see with the Metcal, it's a cartridge type tip. I guarantee you this is more expensive to make than these mandrel type tips, because you have to, first of all, this is just a piece of metal that's either been machined or it's been basically drop forged. It's very simple to do, whereas this is several pieces connected. I don't know if you can see that or not, but I mean, this is a very complicated tip. And the other thing is they just need to add more geometries too. Like I said, they only have one bent chisel. It's a 1.8. It's not very handy. I'd like to see a 1.6 at the very minimum. Also, they've got a couple. I think I've got their 0.8 and their 0.6. I haven't even used the 0.8. It's a little on the big side, but like I said, it'd be nice to have the 0.4 and a long version of the 0.4 as well. I like a little longer one on the 0.4. I haven't gotten it yet, but I was thinking about getting their PLCC tip. One thing I'd like to see about that is maybe a couple more angles and a long tip, because these tips are a little on the short side. So a longer one plus longer ones, 2 different long ones, and another geometry, a different angle would be nice. I also was suggesting to Dan that they need to make a tip holder. The base here for the wand is basically silicone, and the white part here is, I think, ceramic. Funny thing is I was talking to him about it, and I had a suggestion. It's like, I think would be really good is to have a block of black silicone with these little pipes in it, so you can just stick them on, say 10 or 15 or 20, and have a green block, and that would be for non-leaded. So you could have, you know, 2 different colors, and they also make a green collar for the non-leaded solder. That would correspond quite well. Another thing, it would be really nice to see if you could, you know, they need to, in my opinion anyways, these collars. I mean, they're kind of expensive, like $7 each plus shipping. And then you have to buy the tip plus shipping. So it'd be nice if they had a 3-pack and a 5-pack. Same thing with the tips. Another thing would be really nice to see is have, like, you know, it comes with a 1.6, which I think is a great tip. I use that one the most. I use chisel tips. I don't have any conical tips except bent. That's the only conicals I like are bent ones. But it'd be nice to see maybe a 1.2, a 1.6, and a 1.8, you know, set, or an optional set, or since it comes with the 1.6, you know, why not a 1.2, 1.8, and a 2mm or something like that. That'd be really nice. Same thing with the conical. If you prefer conicals, it'd be nice to have, you know, a 3-pack of, you know, to save a little bit of money. Because, like I said, the tips are a little on the expensive side. You know, as far as, like, you know, I also use Metcal here, and, you know, I usually buy these on eBay because you can find old new stock on eBay for really cheap. So that, you know, that's really the only problem I'm seeing here is with this is the availability of tips, and some of the tips are just, in my opinion, overpriced. I actually got them to bring down some pricing on that a little bit, but I don't think it's enough. You know, it's you know, it really kind of takes away from the station not having tip availability. You know, like I said, I really like it. This is actually my favorite wand out of all of them I've ever used. It's just I just like it. Like I said, I would like the wire a little bit better. You know, my Metcal wand is pretty beautiful also. I like it a lot, but I mean, I really just kind of like the Ersa wand a little better. Not by a lot, but there goes my AC. I mean, so basically, you know, if you're thinking about buying this thing, it is a great unit. I mean, I like to be able to, you know, adjust the temperature on the fly. It's like I've mentioned in my other couple videos about the unpacking and basically the first review of this. That's what I don't like about the Metcals. I can't adjust it on the fly. For the most part, that's okay with the Metcal, except when you get into the really tiny tips like the 0.4 bent conical. You know, the 700 series is a little bit too hot. It's so hot that the solder won't stay on the tip, and the 600's a little, you know, little low. You know, basically when you're doing the surface mount, you want to just hit it real quick. You don't want to linger because that's how the components overheat and die. That's why I like having something like this. But like I said, I can't even get the 0.4mm bent conical. They will not put it up for some reason. So my suggestion is, if you are looking at this, you probably need to contact Ersa, Kurtz USA, if you're in America, and let them know that you are thinking about it, but, you know, they need to add more tips. Basically, people need to start, you know, if you guys are interested, you need to contact them and basically tell them, and, you know, because, you know, 1 or 2 people contact, they don't seem to be doing anything. That's why I said the customer service is not that good. So that, you know, and the price keeps going up. So the closer it gets to 300, the less of a value this is. You know, you're better off just going to Hacko or Metcal or something. So, you know, it's a great unit, but there is some disappointment to it as far as I'm concerned. And like I said, I've contacted. In fact, you know, this funny thing is I've contacted them so many times they stopped responding to my emails and stuff. And I, you know, I called them, and I did get a little testy with the lady, because I told her, I was like, if I'd known it was going to be this hard to get tips, I wouldn't have bought this thing. I really wouldn't have. And which is, like I said, disappointing, because it's a really, really great unit. I mean, it is. They just need to put tips up, and they need to basically copy some tips from JBC and some Metcal. We need more geometries, you know. I know a lot of times over there, for like surface mount stuff, they like to use tweezers, but, you know, that's not always viable for everybody. It's just like, that's the one thing about this I-Con Nano, is like, if you want to use, say, their desoldering gun or their tweezers, it won't work with this. You'll have to go with the I-Con or the I-Con 2. And in my opinion, it's not as good a value as, you know, as the Metcal or you know, Hatco at that price point. You know, I mean, the I-Con I think is about close to 500. The Metcal is like just under 550, something like that, and it's a lot better unit for the money. I mean, if you just, you know, go to jensentools.com and you can just see tip after tip after tip. There's tons and tons and tons of tips. Plus, you know, it works with their other tools. And I know this is basically, you know, a hobbyist station, but, you know, this is at the high end of their hobby stations, because they've got the RDS and the I think it's the I-Con Pico, which I really like that. It's almost exactly the same thing. It's a little less wattage, but uses the same tips and everything. It's a much better value, but it's not ESD safe, and it's not grounded. Some people, you know, are not going to buy it because of that, but you can ground it if you really want to. There are ways. And ESD, just don't touch the thing, basically. Have a wrist strap on. So, I mean, you know, it is what it is. There's nothing I can do about it. I mean, like I said, I have it. I'm not going to get rid of it. I enjoy it. I really hope they, you know, decide to add some more tips and add some more geometry. You know, so, you know, that's, like I said, it's like the 0.4 bent conical on the Metcal is a little bit of a pain. That's why I wanted the 0.4 millimeter bent conical on the Ersa, because I knew it was going to be like that. But like I said, you can only wait so many months before you have to, you know, I won't buy it now because I've already invested in a couple Metcal tips. But it's kind of the point, you know. I'd like, instead of buying some of these Metcal tips, I would rather buy what I can on this Ersa, and then, you know, get what I can on the Ersa with the Metcal I've already got. But, you know, so I mean, it's kind of a mixed review, basically. I mean, the piece is the station is great. I love the wand. Like I said, it's my favorite wand. It's a great thing, but, you know, it's only as good as the weakest link. And right now, the weakest link is lack of tips, geometry, and lack of tip availability. You know, I can't afford, and I don't need 10 tips of one geometry. I just don't, you know. That's the point. Put those tips up on Amazon, since that's the only other place I've tried. In fact, I've contacted a couple different suppliers like Jensen Tools and asked them if they would pick them up so I could, you know, they used to sell them a copy. I can't remember who used to, Plato or something used to make some copies of them, but they don't sell them anymore. So, yeah, it is what it is. So let me know what you think in the comments below.